Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
We're back. It's episode 52 of the Brunch and Judge.
It's been a year.
We did a whole year. It's been a whole year. It's
Look at us.
been a
Look at
year.
us
A whole,
committing
whole
to
year.
things. Look at us
Right?
committing to things and following through.
I can't believe that we did this basically every week for a year.
It's
Wow.
true. That's insane to me. Yes.
It's like, I did way better doing this than any, diet or
Same.
exercise plan.
Same.
Or really anything at all.
Right.
I did more
It's true.
podcasts than I read books last year. Yay!
Same. Hopefully on that front, this year will be a little bit different. But,
Yes.
yeah.
New year, new me.
Yep.
But there you go. So this is the last episode of our first year.
That's
Whoa.
insane. I know.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Well, Claire,
Yes.
on this magnificent day of a full year of podcast, what are you
Yes.
judging?
Ugh. So, I'm sure everyone's heard. They found some kind of whatever documents that Biden took home. I don't know.
Documents that Biden took home.
So many documents. Anyway, I'm not really judging him per se. I'm judging the Republicans who are like, oh, the ones who are like, oh, he's your boy. You voted for him, aren't you? Aren't you mad now? He's no better than Trump. And it's like, but no, still investigate him, please.
He's no better than Trump. I'm like, cool.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna argue on that for you, but also maybe we should just all be better about not taking shit from the White House that shouldn't leave the White House. What if that's just the thing that we all say together? Together, we Republicans and Democrats agree we should not be taking stuff home,
especially classified things
at the White House.
But anyway, it just drives me crazy because they're losing their shit about it, and it's like, no, just investigate him.
Right?
Like, I feel like in their mind, you get into those positions of power, and certain people are above the law and they shouldn't be investigated if they have the same views as them, but if they don't, then they should be investigated. Mm-hmm. No, I'm one of those. It's like, investigate them all.
Go for it.
Do it. Arrest them. Whatever. I don't care. They all need to be investigated. I'm one of those people that's like, nobody is above the law.
Right.
Everyone should be held to the same standard and accountability as everybody else. So, well, yes, get over yourselves. Just because somebody voted for Biden doesn't mean they're going to put him up on some kind of pedestal like these other sycophants did with Trump. Mean, it's like they're acting like, yeah, he's some kind of god as above everything. No,
most of us voted for Biden because we were like, oh, fuck that Trump shit. No more of that. No more of that. I mean, I would have voted for a popsicle, probably. Let's be real.
I mean, let's be fair.
Not that I dislike Biden. He's not my personal fave. He's fine.
Same.
He's fine.
He's like, meh. Yeah, like meh,
But I'm like, if we let's say that we go all the way through and we impeach Biden, all I'm seeing is the first woman president of the United States.
Right. Exactly. That'd be great.
So it's like, it's fine, whatever.
But anyway, yeah, I just get tired of hearing, it's like, oh, look who's, it's like, no, they both did things that were wrong. Mm-hmm. They both need to go through the thing. I don't care that I voted for the guy. It's just, be better.
Well, and so here's the thing that makes me laugh. So I don't know a whole lot about Biden having papers and taking papers home. I don't even care that Trump had papers and took them home. I care that it took the FBI basically with a court order to get them back. That's where I have the issue. It's not that of course you're going to take work home. You're probably going to take classified papers home because everything's classified. I mean, God forbid we know there's aliens, whatever.
But, I know, right?
But you fucking give it back, especially when you're not working for them anymore.
Right, yeah.
Just, maybe the week before you're out of office, you just kind of go through everything and make sure that you returned everything. Like, for the library before you move, make sure
Right.
that you're going through your books and that anything you have that belongs to the library, you return before you move away. That's all.
Exactly.
That's
Yes.
all. Just like common sense.
I know.
Yeah, especially when you're paying people to do this for you. So like, she's like, hey, if you see anything with the word classified on it, stick it in this pile so we can return it before we leave. Like,
Right. Yeah. I guess for me, I'm not even really judging that. Yeah, you should return the shit.
return the
However,
shit.
but it's just I get
Mhm.
tired of all the vitriol. It's just like get out of here. I mean, you
I
think
am
I'm just gonna like
so
cry because they're
over it.
investigating him? No. If you did
Mhm.
something wrong, there are consequences. I guess that's where I'm at. It's like everybody needs to be held to the same standards, rules, laws,
Mhm.
and if you don't, there are consequences that you have to suffer, and that's the end of it. Doesn't care
Yep.
who you are, doesn't matter what position you hold. That's where I'm
Yes.
at. So it's just
Yes.
like, just do it,
I mean, I know that's not our real world. The real world is
Right.
it's a good old boys club, and if you're in the right club, you get by with whatever the
100%.
fuck you want. I do that
Right.
every day.
Yep.
But whatever. But no,
Tired,
God, I'm with you.
tired
I'm
of it.
tired. I'm tired of like the straight party line bullshit because
Right.
there is no place in this country where your representative is accurately representing their constituency
No.
if they're just straight voting party lines all the time.
Right.
Because I mean, don't get me wrong, flaming liberal over here. I mean, would love to be like. I mean, I'm probably more liberal than you'll ever imagine. But I also know that that's just me and my beliefs and my thoughts of what I think
Right.
is good and right. So I don't get to win just because I scream loudest. It should be what benefits the most people in my community. That should be the point. It's
Yes.
uh,
I know.
so
Anyway, that's
uh,
my
I
judge.
hate politics. It's stupid.
Same, same, same.
I always wanted to be in politics. I always
I
wanted
know you
not to
did.
like I never wanted to run for office per se. Like that wasn't I didn't want to be a politician, but I wanted to be like on the team, that like
Right.
helped
Yeah.
get them there and like was doing all the like secret backdoor conversations or whatever and like all that because like that's really cool
You
and
wanted to be
exciting
in
and
the know. You
well
wanted
and
to.
like being part of like making sure that the plan passed, this plan passes because we made sure to include this because it was really important to this constituency and
Right.
we made this caveat and we backed off on this in order to get like I love all of that and they don't do that anymore.
No, they
So
don't.
I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. I'll just burn, catch on
Right.
fire, and poof.
I know. Right. Anyway, that's my judge. I just get tired of hearing it. It's just like, oh
Yeah,
my gosh, get over yourselves, guys.
that's an
We get
excellent
it.
judge.
You love
Yeah.
you love Trump no matter what. You're one of those
Mm-hmm.
people, 'cause there's so many of them out there. He can do no wrong.
Well, and I can't think of a single person that wasn't Betty White that I could say something like that. She's like, I just believe that everything they do is good and great and that they're authentic. Like, I don't,
Right.
I
Or
I'm
even like
sorry.
Bob Ross. I feel like Bob Ross is one of those people. He
I don't
got
know.
screwed
I
over
think, I think Bob Ross had some mighty secrets hidden in those paintings.
in that hair. Kind of like Gwen
The
Shamless.
Holy Spirit. Oh my God. What's in Bob Ross's hair? Because it's
I
not the
know,
Holy
right?
Spirit. We know where that is.
No, no.
Hmm.
All the happy little trees.
this
Anyway,
this is where the
so
happy little trees are.
it's
Love it.
true. Anyway, that's my judge.
That's a great judge. I'm here for that.
So, what are you judging this week?
So this week I have a bit of a mystery.
Okay,
Okay.
hit me. Hit me with the. I like mysteries.
So as you know, it's winter. Yay.
Yay.
It's fine. It's not been particularly snowful lately. Like we've had some
Yep, right. Yeah.
flurries or whatever, but we've not had a lot of snow lately. Um, and so I hadn't really been setting up my bird feeder because it hadn't really been a huge thing. But I did set
Gotcha.
one up, and I'd been kind of topping it off with last year's bird seed that I still had left over. And so finally ran out, and I bought just a small bag to quick top it off. And so I filled it up, and I'm trying to think. So it currently is positioned. We moved it from under the house because it was making such a mess under the house. So we're under our overhang thing at the front door. So it's hanging on a plant holder out near the bird bath. So it's out in the yard.
Okay, gotcha.
And I can see it through the kitchen window, which is nice. The little burbs are having a good time eating their birdseed. And so I filled it up one day last week, and I went out that afternoon. Like, I filled up in the morning, I think. I went out that afternoon with Merlin on one of our, daily walks with Merlin.
Yes.
And we wandered over there a little bit, and it was mostly full. Like, there's I hadn't filled it up all the way to the top because I was out of birdseed again at that point.
Yeah.
Bought a small bag. So it was like that much, the top wasn't there. So like it had been picked some, no big deal, but it was still like 3/4 of the way full.
Gotcha.
And that was like in the afternoon. And I went to bed. I got up the next day to go to work. And when I went out the door, I noticed that it was empty. I thought that was weird. But I had to go to work, so I went to work.
Completely empty?
Right? Yeah, empty. So when I come back from work, I go out and really look at it. And it's like there's a few little grains on the bottom, like dust or whatever. But like it's empty, and I'm looking around, and yeah, there's birdseed that's been scattered around, but not
didn't look like somebody had just dumped it.
But where did it go? Because
is it a squirrel?
And so I was like, what the fuck? And I mentioned it to Spencer because he also noticed that it was suddenly empty, but he didn't know when I had put it in. He's like, well, maybe I just missed it. And he's like, no, I went out with Merlin and I happened to look at it, and then the very next morning it was just gone. And so we filled it up again.
It's the ape
bought
cat.
New birdseed. It is the ape cat.
The ape cat came and ate your birdseed.
So we filled it up again, and it's fine. It's not crazy empty. More birds have been on it than I saw at all.
Yeah.
That last time. So I'm like, it's bizarre because I'm like, we did not have enough birds to come by and eat it. It wasn't something that knocked it out so that it could
it wasn't
off the ground.
Yeah.
And like the bird feeder itself wasn't like dislodged because like it's a pop top lid, so like none of that looked.
Yeah.
It had been like knocked over, like a deer maybe knocking it over to get birdseed. Like none of it looked like it had been harassed in a way that a larger animal would probably do. So my true suspicion is that perhaps my ex-landlord, who hates birds.
Oh.
Because we have this we have another neighbor who our ex-landlord, still landlords over. Complicated. Who feeds all of the creatures of God's kingdom, so to speak. She puts out birdseed, but she breaks up bread every morning. So like she has like all the crows and
gotcha.
I think like deer come by. Like I mean, it's a whole thing, and I don't care. It's not my yard, but like it makes my ex-landlord particularly angry because she's like, well, it just brings in the bigger animals, and I'm like, all right. So, but whatever. So she's not a fan of feeding the birds. So I'm like,
she came and stole your birdseed?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if she.
That's but really it was like petty.
We have these weird little things. Like we mostly just avoid our ex-landlord. Just we don't want to be in the middle of anything. Like we don't.
You're like, I don't have a dog in that fight.
We're like, whatever. It's not about us, but
right.
At some point, we know that she has like walked through our yard when she wasn't supposed to be in our yard because we have had snow, and then suddenly there's footprints walking
Oh
diagonally through the
wow.
yard, and we're
Yeah.
like, well, that wasn't us because we don't go outside.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so we just I don't know. I don't know. It was
Interesting.
just a bizarre, weird thing that happened. And like I have no proof. And it could have been anything. Once I had a bird feeder stolen at my old house, and I was like, who would do this? And it turned out a raccoon had stolen it and drug it somewhere else. And I was like,
Oh,
oh
okay.
well, that's fine. Never mind. Raccoon did it. Whoops. But like
Those pesky trash pandas.
and all that's fine. Like if it happens, if this particular thing was a deer or a raccoon or the
Right.
Klickitat Ape Cat or whatever, I don't care. Come eat the birdseed. I have no problem with
Right.
any animal coming to eat the birdseed because they're hungry. So like it's fine. I don't care who eats it. It's out there to feed things.
For the animals, yes.
Yeah, I don't care if it's a squirrel or a bird or a raccoon or again the Klickitat Ape Cat.
Right.
All are welcome. Just don't eat me.
That's right.
But it was just such a weird.
That is
It
weird.
was just weird. It just didn't look like it had been knocked enough for something
And
to
if
eat up
that
off
is
the
her,
ground.
that is like extra petty because you all had no control over the house changing hands and landlords, and that's
No,
just stupid.
no.
So stupid.
But it may be like we did have a showing, as you know, Claire, but very much we did have a showing yesterday, and Spencer and I take a lot of care to try and like clean everything up and make it look nice. You know, make sure that the lighting is nice so that when people come in,
Right.
because I mean, yes, it's not our house, and yes, if it gets sold, we're kicked out and all of those things. But I would want someone to do that if it were my house. Like if I were selling my
Right.
house, like I would want someone to care enough to just, make it look decent. So
Right.
I
Yes.
I suspect that she knows that and maybe feels like we're trying to sell her childhood home. We're like, no, we're just trying to.
You're like, no, 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 that's
We're
not.
just
No.
trying to be helpful.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Shoo. Well, hopefully it was not her. Hopefully there were some other
Yes, I'm hopeful it's just an
woodland
animal, but
creatures that ate the. Maybe it was a raccoon. Maybe the raccoon like got in there with its little grubby hands, and
I
I don't
love
know.
raccoons. They're precious. So I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's just it's a perplexing thing that occurred, and
Right.
my first thought really was like, did my ex-landlord do this? And that tells you
Right.
everything you need to know about what it's been like living here.
Yes.
That was my first
The fact
thought.
that you would even think that she came over and stole your bird seed.
Well, and
Yes.
Spencer had the thought too. He was like, "You don't think it was?" It's like, I mean, I've had the thought, but surely that's
Right.
crazy, right?
That's Too bad you don't have one of those like Ring doorbells or something so you could.
Dude, I know. One day when I'm not here, I told Spencer that I really wanted to have time again to get back into writing because I still have dreams of writing like a book one day that's
Right.
And I was like, maybe this is like my inspiration, living in a house that two siblings who hate each other are fighting over, and you're just like,
And you're caught in the middle.
she's like, I just need to know who I'm paying. That's all.
Right. Oh
It's
my
like, who
gosh.
do I hand this check to every month? Otherwise,
Right.
I don't care. I'm out.
That is perplexing.
Right. So that's my
Is.
judge. My judge is don't steal other people's bird seed.
When they're just trying to feed the birds.
Yeah.
Tuppence a bag.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, don't hate the wild animals that are hungry. It's cold. Let them
Right.
in.
Yeah, right.
It's cold outside. They want to be inside where it's warm too.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess that means we should have our sweary affirmation for the week.
Yes.
All right, Claire. Are
What
you
is it?
ready?
Yes. Hit me.
Sometimes it's okay to let the bridges you burn light your way.
Yes. I like that one.
Me too. You know me. I am pro burning the bridges. Burn
you
the
are.
bridges.
I know you are. You're like, burn
Just
it to the
like, I don't
ground.
care. I don't. I laughed. I'm really hoping Christy Joe is listening to this episode. Because this week Jerry friended me on Facebook and I went, "Oh, Jerry. Oh, Jerry, are you ready for this? Are you sure?"
You're like, do you want to cross this? Do you want to?
Like, I have nothing but love and admiration for Jerry, but I'm gonna be like, he's gonna do that thing where he just shakes his head and says April.
Yes,
A lot.
100%.
A lot.
Yes,
So
yes.
I was like, request accepted.
Oh, yes. We both know the look because we got that look a lot. We did.
Love, nothing but love. But it was a fun moment because as I said, my new rule is unless I have a very specific reason to say no, I will accept any friend request this year. I mean,
Gotcha.
at their own risk and peril. I know who
Right.
I am.
You're like, I know what I am.
I know who
That's
I
not,
am.
because you're like, that's not my problem.
It's taken me 40 years to get here, but I figured it out. This is who I am. My family mostly accepts that, at least tolerates it with love. So
Yes.
we're good. It's all good.
True.
So,
Yes.
I think my mom has just accepted that people will always kind of be like, "So April is
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and my mom's
Yep.
just like, "Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's right. She's April, living her
Yep.
own life."
Indeed.
So, shout out to Jerry via Christy Joe if you're listening.
Right.
Let him know I enthusiastically accepted his friend request.
Oh gosh.
And there you have it.
Yes. All right.
So I guess that means it's time to get into it.
Yes.
This week's episode is about philosophy. Woo!
Much to my chagrin.
So I was super excited because, as you know, Claire, no one else knows, I have a philosophy degree.
Yes, Claire knows this.
Don't worry, I got another one too because I knew that one was probably useless. But I loved philosophy. I don't remember very much at all about it because time, but I
Right.
always enjoyed how the classes made me think differently about things or try and understand different aspects of how people think about things. So it's fun. But Claire, what
Yes.
fascinating story have you brought to us from the magical world of philosophy?
So we'll be talking about Pythagoras.
Yay!
Yes, that Pythagoras.
A squared plus B squared equals
Yes.
C squared, which when you
Yes.
think about it, makes no sense at all, but
No.
whatever.
Whatever. And don't know if y'all know this, but he apparently had a cult. So
Yes. I feel like if you think about it, most philosophers had their own cults. They called them quote
it's
unquote
true.
schools. But
And that's what this one
really,
was. That's what this one was.
really,
Yeah.
they're a little culty.
It's true. Yeah, this one was. You start looking into it, and you're like, God, this is like extra culty.
Like,
Anyway,
culty to the max.
it's up there. I mean, just saying. It's like you get into it, and you're like, yeah, this was a cult, hands down. This was not school. This was a lie. There's no school involved. It's cult.
It's like, we'll call it school, but we all
Right,
mean cult.
right. But we know that's not true. So anyway, so Pythagoras, he was born around 570 BC.
Ooh.
I don't know.
No, I know. Guesses.
And he lived to about 495 BC, which made him around 75-ish years old.
Mm-hmm.
He was an ancient Ionian Greek philosopher and the founder of Pythagoreanism, which is the cult. He influenced other philosophers such as Plato and Aristotle. Little is known about his life. A lot of it seems more like legend than fact. It's just kind of like, this
I
may or
mean,
may not have happened. We don't know.
I feel like that's kind of the reality for most ancient Greek anything
Right.
is that it's what passed on
Yeah.
down.
It's
Well,
always
so
like, legend has it.
legend has,
You know?
which to me, I'm like, there's always some truth to the legend, right? Like a little sprinkling of.
Like, it had to have come from somewhere, right?
So I'm here for it. I'm here
Yeah.
for all of the legend has it.
I know. But there's no legend about this. He was the son of a gem engraver and from the island of Samos.
Oh, okay,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Like April said, the most thing that most people know him for, his most famous thing, is the Pythagorean theorem that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which has to do with the right triangle with
Mm-hmm.
this part and this part equaling the hypotenuse. For those of you not watching the YouTube, I just made it with my hand. He's also accredited with Pythagorean tuning, which has to do with a 3-2 ratio, which is called the pure perfect fifth. So
Oh.
tuning
Yeah,
musical
yeah.
instruments based on perfect fifth.
Oh, okay, okay. Cool.
Also credited with discovering 5 regular solids, which are also known as platonic solids, which is also accredited to Plato. But those like the
Interesting.
tetrahedron, the cube, the octahedron, the dodecahedron, and the icosahedron. Anyway,
I'm
yes.
having flashbacks to high school math,
I know, and I don't like it.
right?
I'm like, this is my
I hated
PTSD.
geometry
This
so
is my
much.
PTSD right here. I'm just like, no, 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 no,
It's
no, no.
like, give me an equation to solve, but like don't make me try and understand geometry and shapes. I don't know the
Right.
shapes.
He's also accredited with the theory of proportions, the sphericity of the Earth, the one who was like, the Earth is a sphere, guys. It's not flat. Um, and identifying the morning and evening.
Really, really old people from before Jesus were able to determine that the Earth was a sphere and not
Right,
flat.
right.
So,
And
what's
he
your
was
excuse, flat earthers? What's your excuse?
exactly, yeah. And identifying that the morning and evening star was the planet Venus, which blows my mind because I'm like, what instruments did you have to like do this? I'm just like, oh, it hurts my head.
They had
But even
math.
like,
I
I
mean, I
know
suppose,
all the math, and I
if
just, ugh,
if we were around then and like we didn't have access to anything of any entertainment value, we might really get into math
right,
too.
I guess, yeah,
I mean, you can't read, but you can always math.
that's true.
Meh.
He was the first man to call himself an actual philosopher,
Oh,
and he was the one who divided the world into 5 climatic zones. So, like, you got your, the temperate and the tundra, and
how do you do that?
I don't know.
He didn't go anywhere. He was a homebody. He didn't go like traveling. How do you do that?
It's the Wikipedia. Oh, speaking of that, my sources were Wikipedia, Medium.com, and ClassicalWisdom.com.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, historians debate Pythagoras' role in any of these discoveries
Yeah.
because many of his discoveries, quote unquote, were probably actually made by some of his colleagues or successors, but his name was accredited to all of them, and also debated his actual contribution to mathematics and natural philosophy. So all of that is up for debate. What did he actually do? We don't know. Some people think he did, some people think he didn't. He may
I
have
mean,
stolen it. We don't know.
I feel like it's the whole chef thing. So like if you're in a kitchen, you have a chef. And even though most of your meal is gonna be cooked or made by like the sous chef or like the saucier or whatever they call the person who
Yeah.
makes all the sauces, or
Mm-hmm.
like it's actually all these other people that are making it. The chef gets the credit because he's the one that put them together in this space to make it happen.
Right.
So
Yeah,
maybe
it
it's
kind
that
of.
kind of mentality
I
of
think it is
maybe he himself
because
didn't specifically do it, but he made it so that they could do it, so he gets the credit.
well, and that's what I'm going to get into with the school that he created. It says that Pythagoras eventually found his way to Croton. Um, like I said, his life up until then was like up for debate, like what actually happened, where he was, I don't know. But when he was in Croton, he actually opened his school, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
which they said was more kind of like a monastery. Um, and his school was basically a commune,
Uh-huh.
his cult,
His cult.
where the members shared all their possessions and strictly devoted to excluding any outsiders because it was very much members only.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Got your
Because,
got your members only jacket.
I mean, fair. I mean, there probably was like some kind of little secret password. I don't know. Members were chosen
It was a
very.
squared plus b squared equals c
Yes,
squared.
that was their password. Oh, members were chosen carefully and they participated in some kind of initiation. And they had to endure ritual purifications.
So they
And
were joining a
so,
fraternity.
yeah, when I'm reading this, like the movie that's popping to my head is The Skulls. That
Skulls.
one, yes. I was just like, this sounds like that stupid movie where it's like, oh, we got our secret society and blah blah
That's
blah.
right.
And they were sworn to like complete secrecy, so they operated. Everything was a secret. Um, so the members they took a vow to pursue religious and aesthetic observances and study Pythagoras's religious and philosophical theories.
Okay.
So
Sure,
cult,
sure.
because
Yes.
like
Cult.
cult. This is where, yeah. So their central belief, it's all very reminiscent too of like Heaven's Gate a little bit with the whole like your soul leaving your body and blah blah blah.
Well, there are
Uh,
no original ideas.
no, there aren't. Their central belief was transmigration of the soul. So your
Mm-hmm.
soul left the human body and would inhabit the body of an animal. They were very much into reincarnation. So it was like once you like achieved, from what I understood, when you were a human and then you go back to like, and you'd work your way up the food chain, so you got back to human,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just this cycle. Anyway, they were strictly forbidden from eating meat, and so they're one of the earliest groups that were recorded as vegetarians.
Oh, nice.
So,
I'm here for that.
um, however, the Pythagorean this one cracked me up a smidge. The Pythagorean diet also prohibited the consumption of beans. So, the reason was not totally known, but this is what cracked me up. It was said that Pythagoras believed that humans lost part of their souls whenever they passed gas.
I love it. Like, I knew it had to do with farting. I was having like that
Yeah,
scene from
Blazing Saddles.
yes, from Blazing Saddles was going in my head, and I was like,
The
it's gonna be
campfires.
something about farting. It's gonna be
Yes,
something about farting. But you lose part of your soul every
every
time
time
you fart.
you fart. Yep.
Uh,
And I'm just like,
sorry.
that's precious. I'm just like, hmm. Anyway, so
Hmm.
abstinence was demanded, as in most cults. However, they, for whatever reason, I don't know how they know this, they know that he didn't die a virgin. So Pythagoras is out there having sex.
Well, I
But his
mean,
people cannot.
well, that's
Cult.
very like
Cult.
Gwen Shanlin. No divorces. Well, I'm gonna get one, so some of you can have them now.
Right. It is. It is. um, like I said, they believe the soul was trapped in a continuous cycle of death and reincarnation. And the only way to end this cycle was to achieve a higher understanding of the universe through introspective thought and philosophical study.
Yes, I'm gonna make it to the next level.
Right. So that was the only way to end your reincarnation cycle, was to achieve this
Guys, I
level
am
of higher
ending
understanding.
my reincarnation cycle. That is why I got that degree in philosophy, was so that I
Right.
could assure that this is my last one and I can just ascend to Tila.
Whatever.
Tila, is that what it was?
Yeah, for Heaven's Gate, yes,
Yep.
uh-huh.
I can ascend to the Tila, the next level.
Tila, yep, that's it, yep.
Achievement unlocked.
um, everything in their belief system was numbered. That was
Okay.
the universal quality of all things, was that they could be counted.
What?
So,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
You
So
can count them. Oh, okay.
yes, no universe is without numbers, and that numbers are the substance of reality. So
But we
all
just
their
made
they
up
did all the
numbers.
mathing. They had all the mathing. That's what.
Okay, so not the cult for me.
No, absolutely not.
I
Not me
mean, like,
either.
although I was actually pretty good at math and I didn't hate it other than geometry. Fuck geometry. Fuck it to hell. If I hadn't had a teacher who found me amusing and like helped a lot, I would not have done as well geometry.
Right.
But like, I'm here for math. It's fine. But like, all there is to life is math.
Yeah, and so and
It's extreme.
they thought that they believed in purifying the mind through the studying of mathematics and science.
Oh, I mean, I
So
like science. That's fine.
yeah,
I can do the science part.
and
Let's leave out the math.
right, and it was Pythagoras said, quote, "Beatitude is the knowledge of perfection of the numbers of the soul." He believed in all the math and all the numbers, and that the school's motto was "All is number."
No,
Or the
no.
cult. It's a cult. The
I'm
cult's
having.
motto was
I'm now
"All is
seeing like
number."
everything is just binary. We're all just zeros and ones, man.
I mean, kinda. And I think they believe that, like, from what I read, that like the number one was like the superior number, and things like the number 8 represented justice, and 7, kind of like in Christianity, represents like perfectionism. Blah
It's
blah
like I
blah.
think 7 is the number of completion,
Yeah, yeah,
and 3 is the perfect number. It's been a long time since I've
yeah. It
had
was
that, but yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. I
hmm
mean, all right, it's cool. It's cool. I don't remember
And
8 being justice, but fine. Why
I
not?
know I was
Why
like, I
not
don't know
8?
why.
Why not?
I don't know.
Could be 4. Could be
We don't know.
12.
But they believe that all numbers were rational, which
Okay.
we know that that's not true.
Okay.
Um, anything discovered by one of his little sycophants was considered, quote, the word of the master. So it was automatically attributed to Pythagoras.
It is
So
the
there,
word of the
yes,
master.
and so there you go with the whole chef thing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
anything that was discovered in this school that was of note, then Pythagoras he got the credit for
I
doing
mean,
it, even
I'm
though
here
it
for that.
wasn't
I
him.
get it. That's how most structures are set up.
Mhm.
That's fine. Whatever.
So there was a member named, gonna butcher this, don't care, Hippasus, I'm
Sure.
assuming.
Hey,
He
if
was
you say it, I believe it.
he was a member of Pythagoreanism. Um, so they said that he was the one who actually discovered the dodecahedron, and he did not attribute it to Pythagoras.
The scandal.
It's so scandalous. And they also say that he proved that not all numbers were rational and didn't keep it a secret.
How dare he? Well, he obviously got excommunicated from the cult.
Oh, well, yeah, we're going to get to that in a minute. But that the fact that he proved that not all numbers were rational was damaging to Pythagoreanism, because that was like one of the basis of their whole thing, was that
Right.
numbers are rational, blah blah blah. And so here we go. According to legend, we don't
Oh,
know.
okay. According to legend.
So one of two things happened to Hippasus. I don't know. One was that according to legend, he was severely punished. Some say that they took him out and drowned him at sea, which seems very like overreactionary. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
whatever.
okay, okay.
And then others say that he was expelled from the school
I mean, that feels
slash
acceptable.
cult,
Fine.
and that they erected a tombstone for Hippasus as a symbolic send off, like you're dead to us.
And you're
You are
that is
dead to
next
us.
level. You're dead to us. This
Here
is
is your
your grave.
tombstone.
You're dead.
Yes.
Bye. Bye,
Yes.
bitch.
I
Okay,
mean, yeah, that basically.
I feel like that's the thing we should be doing now when we're ready to like write people off. We'll just make fake tombstones for them, like, you're dead
Yes.
to me. All right.
Yes.
I'm burning my bridges. You're dead.
My backyard would be littered with tombstones. I'm just saying.
Same.
You're dead to me. Oh gosh. So ironically, the proof of irrational numbers is one of the most significant and lasting contributions of Pythagoreans to mathematics.
Ah. Well,
So
there you go.
So the one thing that they didn't believe in
Right.
wound up being what they're known for.
It's like, and that's how cults should work.
Yes.
Good job.
And that is the cult of Pythagoras.
That is amazing. So
there's a lot more to it, but a lot of the mathy stuff was like, oh god, my brain is melting.
Well, but to me, what I feel like you should truly take from the cult of Pythagoras is that if you are a parent of a child who is struggling with geometry / Pythagorean theorem crap,
right,
you can just go to the teacher and be like, I'm not comfortable with you teaching cult teachings to my child.
Right.
And just go fuck with that teacher's mind for like 5 minutes.
It's true.
I mean, then obviously buy them a Starbucks gift card because their lives are hell, but
yes.
have a moment where you can look at your child and be like, I know this is awful. It's a cult. Math is a cult.
I mean, I felt like he checked all those cult boxes. Like, he has initiations, the secrecy, the exclusivity, the whole like, oh, y'all can't have sex, but I can. I feel like that's a big one. Like, I feel like that's in all of them. It's like, oh, all the people belong to me. Mm-hmm. None of you can have sex, but I'm gonna have all the sex. Like, I feel like that's a big one.
Well, and it's usually like, I can have sex with you, but you can't have sex with each other.
Yes.
Understand?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I can have sex with your children, but you can't do anything. Like
and the whole like, I need to like enlighten myself to get to this higher plane of existence, and I feel like that's always a culty thing.
That's right. I mean, we made several connections to both Heaven's Gate and Remnant Church Fellowship or whatever. Yes. So, I mean, I feel like this is probably a cult. So, math, man. Math just leads to some culty shit.
I knew it. I knew it. That's why I don't do math. Okay.
Don't do math. Or meth. Or math.
Math or meth.
No, no math, no meth.
Yes. Exactly. Okay. Well, there you go. Pythagoras. He did have a cult.
I will say
it was not a school. Do not be fooled. It was not a school.
I feel like he probably had like a cool nickname. Like they didn't call him Pythagoras, and there's not really a cool way to shorten that.
No.
So he's probably like the original P Diddy or whatever.
Probably.
It's like, what's the secret code? P Diddy's awesome. That's right. Come on in.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, that was amazing, Claire.
It was wild. I was just like, okay, this sounds like not my cult. Okay.
Hashtag not my cult.
Hashtag not my cult. Exactly. Oh, hashtag not my cult.
All right.
So, what philosophy are you going to be talking about?
I am going to be talking about Diogenes, the most unusual philosopher that you'll never meet because he's dead.
You'll never ever meet. Okay.
All right, so I am bringing you the story of Diogenes, whose name I can say only because he is the bad guy in the Pendergast novels by Preston and Child.
Okay.
One of the bad guys. He has
One
like
of the
a whole
bad
big
guys.
story arc. He's Aloysius's brother. And
Okay.
I'm like, what parent names their child Aloysius and their
Aloysius.
other child Diogenes? But okay.
Oh, that's like his real name. It's not like some kind of like.
Oh, that's the name that they were given. Yeah, born with. Diogenes.
Oh, I didn't know if that was some kind of just like, oh, I'm gonna take the name of this philosopher that I admire.
God, I hope not, because Diogenes was a unique guy.
Was he now?
He was. So I got all of my information from Wikipedia and a couple of things from medium.com.
Medium.
Mm-hmm. So Diogenes, also known as Diogenes the Sinope, and also known as Diogenes the Cynic,
Ah, the cynic.
was a Greek philosopher living during the time as Plato and Aristotle and everybody else. Diogenes was one of the founders of Cynicism, which is a philosophical movement from way back when, in which personal happiness is satisfied by meeting one's natural needs, and that anything that is natural cannot be indecent, which comes into play.
What? Cannot be indecent?
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Essentially, it's living according to nature or as nature intended instead of.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot about questioning societal norms and being like, but why? Why are we doing that? What's the point?
I'm here for some of that. I'm here for some of that, yes.
Right.
Like, but
It
why?
it is very anti-traditionalist. It goes against like the accepted codes and mores and behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, Diogenes had strong issues with the Athenian society, those living in the
Uh-huh.
metropolitan
Yeah.
world of Athens.
Yeah.
It comes from the word cynic comes from the word for dog. So apparently the Greek word for dog sound or dog like or something like that sounds like cynic, and that's where it comes from. Because
Interesting.
essentially the cynicism in its philosophy, like from back in the day, was
Mm-hmm.
more similar to like the philosophy of living life as a dog. I mean, you eat when you're hungry, you sleep when you're tired, you
Gotcha.
fuck to make babies. Like, I mean, it's just
Yes.
you, and you're happy and wagging your tail.
Okay. Noted.
So it is not the nihilistic, dark uh, world of cynicism today. So,
Right.
but back to good old Diogenes. So he was born around 412 or maybe 404 BCE,
Okay.
and died in 323 BCE.
Mm-hmm.
Now, allegedly, he was banished, or maybe fled, from the city of Sinope, which was in Greece, but modern day would be in Turkey.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Um, so he was banished or fled as the result of a charge for debasement of currency. So his
Mm.
dad was the mint master, as in made the currency, the
Uh-huh.
coins, whatever, of Sinope, and there was some concern that either Diogenes did it himself or that he did it in concert with his father to debase the currency. It sounded more like there's a lot more political stuff at play,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
in order to fuck shit up and get a new political power in play or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, regardless of why it happened and who did it, he ended up having to leave Sinope, whether he was kicked out or ran away or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is when he made his way to Athens. And so, in theory, or according to legend,
According to legend, yes.
he went to see the Oracle of Delphi. And it was the Oracle who told him that he needed to deface the currency. So he did that in Sinope. It didn't really go so well for him. So
Yeah.
he thought maybe what it meant instead is that he should deface the political currency, so that he should be going against society, essentially. So
Okay, so it was more than just like a literal like
yeah, he's like, maybe I
currency.
went too literal here, and it's more of an
Right.
overarching theme of life.
Gotcha. I
So
see.
he goes to Athens. He does bring his slave with him. His slave was named Mans, M-A-N-E-S, Manes,
Mains?
Manes,
Menes? Menes?
Menez,
Menes?
Menez.
No, no,
But
no, no.
Menez, whatever, soon escaped because he was like, "No, I'm out.
He's like, I don't want to do
I
this.
don't want this. I'm out." And so basically Diogenes was like, "Well, if he can live without me, I can live without him. So here we go." And I'm like, "What the fuck?"
He's like, cool, cool. I'll just do it
He's just,
without a slave.
yeah, he's fine. So he instead searches out a philosopher named Antisthenes.
Antithesis.
I know, like I'm sure that it's coming that we get antithesis from there
Oh, I'm
somehow.
sure.
But
Yes.
Antisthenes was a student of Socrates,
Mm-hmm.
whose teachings Diogenes really connected with. He was super into Socrates.
Gotcha. Everybody's into Socrates.
Everybody's into Socrates, man. All right. But Antisthenes was not at all interested in mentoring Diogenes. Just was like, nah, bro, leave me alone.
He's like, I don't want you
I
as my
don't. He's
protege.
like, I
Okay.
don't want this. And he tried like just ignoring him, but like Diogenes was persistent and just would not leave him alone. Eventually, eventually, Antisthenes had to beat him off with his staff. He's like, leave me the fuck alone. Which I'm
Oh my
like,
gosh. All I see is like Gandalf like beating off one of the
yes,
hobbits is what
yes.
my mental image is of that.
I
Like
feel like that is a correct mental image. It's like, just leave me the fuck alone. Damn it, Diogenes. But Diogenes is not one to give up. And he was like, strike, for you will find no wood hard enough to keep me away from you, so long as I think you've something to say. And
so Diogenes was not of the school of thought where no means no,
no,
obviously.
Diogenes would not take no for an answer. And to me, the 12-year-old boy that resides inside of my head snorted so hard at you will find no wood hard enough. And
I know. I know. It's like, oh,
Lord.
I know.
But so Antisthenes, I guess, just accepted the inevitable that he's never getting rid of this guy and was like, fine, you can stay. Whatever. It's fine.
Oh, geez.
Fine. And so Diogenes became a student of Antisthenes. And during his time with him is when one of his more well-known things that he said, at least in philosophy land, I don't know if it's actually well-known anywhere else, is that he was the one who said to question everything. It's like, just question everything.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But eventually
don't
Diogenes,
take anything at face value.
right?
Ever.
Don't just be like, okay, fine. Be like, but why?
Right.
But why? But why?
Yeah.
He's basically a
like a 4-year-old child.
Well, I was thinking like
but
the 2-3-year-old is like perennial little child who's just everything's, but why?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like
but
a 4-year-old kid that's
but
like,
why? But
yeah.
why? And you're like,
yes,
because I said so.
And you're like, oh my god, shut up.
I cannot have children. Ugh.
Same. Yep.
So at some point, Diogenes ends up getting captured by pirates.
What?
I know, right?
That's wild. Okay.
They sell him into slavery.
Okay.
And eventually
that took a turn. That escalated quickly.
And he eventually settles in Corinth. So when he was being sold into slavery, like he'd been captured, but he was being sold, and he was asked what his trade was, to figure out who's gonna want him as a slave. Like, can you do what can you do?
Yes, yeah.
And his reply was he knew no trade but that of governing men and that he wished to be sold to a man who needed a master.
What? He sounds like a smartass.
He is a smart ass.
That's like
he's
a
some good
smart
time.
assy answer. Like, sell me to somebody who needs a master. Wow.
So he lucked out. A guy named Xeniades really liked his spirit. Was like, I'm here for this asshole. I'm right. That's fine. And so he ended up taking Diogenes, and Diogenes tutored his children. So he became a tutor, in which he espoused his his general philosophy to the children. So good for them, I guess, or not. I'm not sure.
Right.
So at some point after that, he was apparently set free. Maybe Xeniades was like, all right, we're done. Bye. I don't
He's
care
like,
anymore.
I don't want you filling my children's heads with this nonsense.
But it's good times. A good time. So while he was in Corinth, the city burst into like a huge flurry of activity because they were getting ready for King Philip II of, is it Macedon? Macedon? I don't remember.
Not Macedonia.
It says Macedon. Maybe
Okay.
it's Macedon, but the whole place is Macedonia.
Macedonia?
I don't know. But anyway, King Philip II was coming, and so everyone was all excited, blah, 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 blah. And Diogenes was like, I don't, have anything to do. So he gets up and just starts moving around his pot that he slept in. I'll go into in a minute, but giant pot, giant barrel looking thing. He just starts rolling it around, just so that way, he could look like he was busy. And someone asked why he was moving it around, and he was like, I don't want to be thought the only idler in such a busy multitude, so I'm rolling my tub to be like the rest. He just randomly rolling it around. He's just
like this busy work over here. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. So some of my favorite things about Diogenes, because he's an interesting guy. So he too was really into asceticism, which is where practitioners live with a minimal amount of worldly material goods, sometimes even pleasures. I kind of like Pythagoras was like, no sex for anyone but me. We got to deny our worldly pleasures, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He was not super into that one. But Diogenes was really into poverty as a virtue.
Okay.
So he begged for a living. He didn't have a real job, so to speak, and would often sleep in a large ceramic jar called a pithos. And it either was
he slept in a jar.
It was either a discarded bathtub or a repurposed wine barrel. No one is quite sure what it was, but like it was just something that had been thrown away, and he turned it into like a place that he lived and slept. Like I sent some pictures. You can see him in his bathtub. At one point, he owned a wooden bowl that he used to eat and drink from. But then he saw a boy drinking water by cupping his hands and like slurping out of them.
Yeah.
And so he just immediately like broke his bowl and threw it away. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, well, now I know. I don't even need this bowl. I can just use my hands, Like,
okay.
All right. He used his simple lifestyle and his interesting behaviors to criticize the social values and institutions of what he saw as a corrupt and confused society. So he was an odd duck. He lived in his bathtub, but he lived in the marketplace, which is like the place to be. Like that's where everybody goes. Everybody's got to go to get all the things. All the things are at the marketplace. And he would have lots of conflict with the other Athenians who were at the marketplace. Because, like, bizarrely, you're not supposed to eat in the marketplace. I don't really understand why, because that's where all the food is. So you can't eat it. You can buy it, but you can't eat it. Whatever. So
you have to buy it and take it home to eat it.
Yeah, which, of course, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people would ask him things like, "What kind of wine is your favorite wine?" And he would say, "That for which other people pay." And I'm like,
Yes.
same, Diogenes. Same. That is also my favorite wine.
The same.
Same. Same. Same.
That's like the more I hear about this guy, the more I'm like, he's on to something. He is on to something.
Well, you might hold off, because he would, he was super just into nature is nature, man.
Right.
So he'd be in the marketplace and would just plop down in front of a crowd and just relieve himself with zero shame, no remorse.
Okay.
And sometimes he would urinate on people who insulted him.
Yeah, that's gross.
But kind of funny.
That's disturbing.
He would defecate in the theater during the world famous Greek plays. He's like, I gotta take a shit,
No,
man. Mm-hmm.
that's not classy.
Um,
Not
and
classy at all.
and unlike Pythagoras and his anti whatever, um, Diogenes was like, sometimes you just gotta let yourself feel, man. And so he would just masturbate publicly as well, just in public. Doo.
Okay, noted.
So apparently, in ancient Greek society, the middle finger was bad there as well. So like, you're not supposed to
Mm-hmm.
point with your middle finger, which I guess you're not supposed to now either. But
Mm-hmm.
people would get upset, and because he would do it all the time. He would flip the middle finger, and he would always be like, "But why? Why is the middle finger bad? Why not the thumb? Like, why? Why are we being upset over this stupid thing?
This
Like,
one finger, like, what makes it worse than the others? Yeah, that's fair. That's
yeah."
a fair question. I mean,
One of the other, according to legend, is that
mm-hmm.
he would carry a lantern with him throughout the day when you don't really need a lantern, um,
Right.
and would claim that he was looking for a man, or an honest man, depending on which source. Some say he would say, "I'm looking for an honest man," and some, "I'm looking for a man." It's just a
Okay.
weird thing he would do.
Right. Okay.
He declared himself a citizen of the world. He did not belong to any society or town or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing is, so like, Diogenes fucking hated Plato. He thought Plato was a fucking idiot because he thought Plato's interpretation of Socrates was bullshit. He's like, "You're wrong." And so he would try and sabotage Plato when he would do lectures or things, and often would bring food and eat during the discussions to distract people.
So he's petty. Okay, he's petty. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Plato once referred to Diogenes as Socrates gone mad. So, like, Plato also not a fan of Diogenes.
Right. Yes.
Uh, at one point, Plato was asked to describe a man, and feeling a little bit tongue in cheek to the group. This is not Diogenes; just happened to be around, I think. But he responded to the question or whatever, and said that a man is a featherless biped, which I guess everyone thought was funny. I don't, ancient
But
Greek,
it's
I don't get
true.
it.
But
And
it's
so
true.
Diogenes was like, not to be outdone, was like, "Well, fuck you." So he gets a chicken and plucks it and strolls into the academy and says, "Behold, I have brought you a man."
Oh my god. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I'm just
So
hey. Right, brought you this featherless chicken that I'm gonna call a man
it's
because
a man. I found you a
he's a
man.
featherless biped. Okay,
Mm.
cool.
So as a result, Plato and his pals changed the description to a featherless biped with broad, flat nails.
Broad. What? There are so many other terms you could put to that, but
Meh.
whatever.
Eh. Um, Diogenes gave zero fucks as a general rule, and
Obviously.
he even publicly mocked Alexander the Great to his face.
So he obviously gives zero fucks about
Like
anything.
zero fucks. So Alexander actually was really excited to meet the famous philosopher Diogenes because he's well known at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And by this time, Diogenes is in Corinth after he'd been sold into slavery and then been freed or
And
whatever.
then let go because they didn't want him anymore.
They were like, all right, we're done. And so like Diogenes was like, whatever. He gave zero fucks about meeting basically the emperor of the world because it's Alexander the Great, right?
Right, yeah.
Damn, man. And so Alexander meets him and asks Diogenes if there's anything that he can do for him. And Diogenes replies, yes, stand a little out of my sunshine. And
Wow.
so Alexander took it all in stride and said if he could be like any man other than Alexander the Great, he would like to be Diogenes. And Diogenes said, if I would be any other man but Diogenes, I would still like to be Diogenes.
Of course he would. Wow.
But unfortunately, Diogenes did die. He was not immortal. And so he did die. There are some questions on how he died, kind of similar to your story. So he might have held his breath until he died.
Okay.
It's also possible that he ate raw octopus and got sick and then died.
Okay.
Or it's possible that he got bit by a dog and it got infected and then he died. Or maybe some weird combination of the three. I don't really know.
We don't know.
No one knows. It's a best guess kind of a thing. But I will tell you, he did leave instructions for his death. He wanted his body to be thrown outside the city wall so wild animals could feast on it.
So he's practical. I mean,
he was like, oh, I'm dead. I don't care. So
yeah, he's like, I'm not there anymore. It's just a vessel. I have achieved Tila.
And so that is the story of Diogenes, the most interesting philosopher that I've ever come across.
Well,
at least on a personal level.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
There are many of his philosophies. I'm like, that's not bad. That's actually
I'm
fair.
here for just being like, because he apparently would go around all the time and be like, why are we doing this? Like, why are you paying him? Why are you saying these things? Why are we abiding by these rules and laws? Like, why?
And it's like, and the fact that it's like, just because we've always done it this way is not an answer. It's not an acceptable answer,
He said something to, I want to say it was Alexander the Great, but it could have been someone else. But essentially, he made the point that, everyone dies and their bones are just bones. It doesn't matter. Like, who cares if you were an emperor or if you were a slave? Your bones are just bones. I can't tell the difference between your bones. And I'm like,
that's
damn, bitch, you tell him. You stick it to him.
He's harsh.
So
I'm here for the snark, though. I am here for all that snark.
that was
fantastic.
I do love his snark, and I'm pretty sure that's what I am responding to for Diogenes. Is I'm like, all right, I'm here for that. I'm just like, there's no wood hard enough to keep me away.
Snark. He is the philosopher of snark. I'm here for it.
Yes, he's well, and I love how, like, okay, so Socrates dies, and so then he has his little students, and then they fight over who is more right about Socrates, and that makes me laugh that like Diogenes and Plato had this like
rivalry between them. It's like,
and it was funny.
Right.
I'm just gonna sit in your lectures and eat and like offer my food to other kids in the class and be like, hey, you want some of my Cheetos?
Right.
Dude, I got Cheetos.
show up with like his basket of grapes. I'm like, hey, you want a grape?
Hey, you want this wine that someone else paid for? It's my favorite.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yes, that was great. Thank you for that. That was fantastic.
You're welcome. And so there it is. There is our philosophy stories for you.
Yes.
I'm sure there are many more out there, but those are a couple good ones, I think.
This was the topic was given to us by Ellen. So
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Ellen.
Hope you got something out of this.
Uh-huh. All right. I guess that means that it's time for tarot time with April. A spooky spooky.
Yes.
Tell me when to stop. Okay. I don't have any philosophy songs.
No philosophy songs.
No, like I can't remember learning anything like on the way to the Greek market I met Socrates. He said my dog might have fleas.
Stop.
No. There aren't any. I'm sorry. There are no cute Greek philosophy songs. There should be. There should be a fun like Plato, Socrates or song. Or maybe one day Plato and Diogenes were fighting over Socrates. And Plato said a man was a featherless biped and Diogenes brought a featherless chicken instead. Wrong way.
Wow. That was special.
Thank you. All right. We're starting with the sun.
The sun. Here comes the sun.
Oh, and the Pope is back.
I say, ooh, it's all right.
And we're ending with the 9 of Pentacles. How do you feel about that?
I mean, those are not terrible.
I don't remember what the sun is, like at all.
I think it was like the light, shining light on things.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds like a thing that the sun would do.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Everything is moved into the light, and I get an image in my head of the sunshine reaching into the darkest, deepest corners of us, burning away the sadness, the lies and distortion, the broken trusts and broken hearts. The sunshine illuminates and enlightens us and shows us that when the shadows and dark and twisties go away, it's not so scary out here after all. Bring on the light. Bring on the light. And then back to our Pope, who continuously reminds us we got to learn our shit in order to like succeed. Get the educations we need, man. To be the intermediary between God and men.
Yes.
So okay. We're gonna have the light. The light's gonna warm us up, and it's gonna burn away all the shadows, Claire.
Yes.
So that we can learn the things we need.
And then we're gonna get educated.
We're gonna get edumacated.
I was gonna say that edumacated.
Edumacated. And then we're gonna have the 9 of Pentacles. There is no avarice here and no insecurity. It is a woman at peace in her garden. Well, I don't know if it's a woman, but there's someone happy with their flowers, so.
Okay. Noted.
Either way. This card speaks to gratitude and confidence. It's about treating yourself as well as you treat the people you love, and it's the result of hard work and perseverance, because we have the Pope, man. We have the Pope. So, all right. That sounds like a good week. It's a good week, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm here for all of that. That's nice.
It's been a while since we've had a week that's been that,
positive,
right?
Super uplifting. I've been writing them down in my planner as we go, and like, yeah, it feels
right.
good.
Yes.
All right. So there you have it. The last tarot reading of our first year of podcast.
Yes.
Crazy. All right, Claire.
Yes.
This is important. This is the big one. What
Yep.
is the topic? The first topic of our new season, new year, second year. The first
Year
topic
2.
of year
Year
2.
2.
Whoa, year 2.
Year 2.
What's it gonna be?
Ooh.
Uh-oh, what is it?
Badass women in history.
That is perfection. What a great way to start off the new podcast
Also
year.
given to us by Ellen.
Ellen, you are a queen, damn it. Do you hear me? You're a
You
queen. Keep
are.
on. Keep on sending us these great topics because, like,
Yes.
it's amazing. I'm excited. I'm very excited. This is going to be great. Yes.
Badass women in history.
It's going to be great. I'm so excited. All
'Cause
right.
there are lots of those.
There are. So, thank you, everyone who has been on this insane journey with us.
Right.
Can't believe it's been a year. That's bananas. It's cuckoo bananas.
And we've learned a lot.
We have learned a lot. I will say that I'm hopeful that for our first episode of our second year, there will be a few small changes. So bear with us. I hope you like them. Hope I have
And
time
we've
to
also
finish
had to
them.
fight. We've fought with the internet gods and
Boy, haven't we fought.
fought with the technical difficulty demons. And
So many demons.
Yep. There's been a lot.
But
some of the episodes have been a struggle.
true, it's true. But thank you all for hanging out with us this whole time, and we're hopeful for another year of this. It's been a lot of fun.
It has,
So,
yes. Learned a lot
until
too, as far as like learned a lot in the topics, learned a lot with the
right?
technical stuff. It's
Yes. I
it's
have new
been
skills that I did not have before.
yes. Feel that. All right.
So, until next time, you can find us in all the things and at all of the places at.
Brunch and Judge.
Please follow, like, subscribe, share. We would love to have more people join us on this particularly exciting journey for us.
Yes.
And you can send us more topics for our wheel or any stories you'd like for us to cover to
brunchandjudge@gmail.com.
So until next time, keep on brunching
and keep on judging.
Bye.
Bye.